and welcome to Third Power Life podcast. Been a little while, been hard at work making agents, making all kinds of really interesting AI projects and helping protect our humanity in the process. And I wanted to kind of talk today a little bit about there was a KPMG report that came out, their Q1 AI Pulse, right? And it had some really interesting pieces to it. Basically, like 89% of companies are planning to roll out AI agents and AI processes and all of this, but actually only like 11% scale and actually get the results that they're after. And so that gap is huge. And I think that there's a reason why that happens. And it's because the work to make it scale and the work to go beyond the hype, right? Because I mean, AI is everywhere. Everybody's talking about it, and there's so much that you can do. And we do these really cool, demos and pilots, and it gets everybody excited. But there's this huge gap between that hype and the actual execution in a long-term way, right? Because pilots are fun, pilots are sexy, pilots are easy, right? Yeah, here's the proof of concept. And I've done it so many times myself, even in my own business and, creating my OpenClaw system and my agents and all of that, where like the fun part is getting that proof of concept going. But then you've got to do the, let's call it less fun, less sexy work of governance and building guardrails, creating trust, providing all of the data it needs to truly be a long-term running system that's going to be successful, that you can trust to do it, right? All building that guardrails, and that's the hard work, right? It's the reality. Experimenting is easy. Even deploying it is out there. But I think they said like 63% of all of the different companies had, or 63% required human validation, right? At that point, it's like bringing somebody in and just standing over their shoulder watching them work. It's not really going to get you the results and the transformation that you're looking for, right? Because there's a whole big difference between just like buying the tools, buying the software, buying the program, and actually building the system and integrating it in with everything else that's going on in your company. Because the reality is that AI changes things. There was an entire article I read not long ago about how the AI org structure is different. It's not the standard hierarchical corporate system. Things are changing. So we have to integrate this in to make it real in our organization. We can't just say, all right, everybody, we're going to use AI tools. We're going to use ChatGPT. We're going to use Claude. We're going to use Cowork. It doesn't work that way. You have to intentionally design your stuff, right? And if you've listened to me for any amount of time, I talk about find your purpose. What's the purpose behind it? You need to know, what are you trying to do with the agent? Not just, hey, we've got a chatbot now, but what's the real purpose behind it, right? That's where the real benefit comes in, okay? So in order to create transformation, you've got to have the trust model. You've got to operationalize AI, not just, hey, roll it out and let's see what sticks to the wall. We have to do the not so fun work of actually building the guardrails, building the governance around it, right? So, if this is something that your company is working on, I would love to hear how it's going. If you want to connect and let's just talk about it, I'm all for it. Because The real challenge is that the problem is not like access to the tools. It's not, ideas that we need to create. It's how do we execute that in a way that is consistent and will function long term, not just a, hey, this is a cool new toy, right? Um, so that's where I wanted for us to start our conversation is let's do this on purpose. Let's not drift through AI. Let's take command of it, right? Let's do it right and let's do it together. And let's make sure that we are protecting our humanity in the process. And that's why trust is so important. We have to do what is the machine work? What are the machine roles that we need AI to do? And how do we get them to do it properly? And what are the human things? What's the meaning work that we need to protect? Because that is what it's all about. All right. Well, until next time, my friends, keep living your life to the third power.